What I want to do tonight, just for a moment, is to bring you back. And what I want you to do is close your eyes and think about when you were a little kid and you came into maybe a really large field, or maybe like you went to like the Grand Canyon for the very first time. Maybe you're in the middle of the woods, or maybe you're in a really big room with a vaulted ceiling. And if you were anything like me when I was a child, I would have an urge, and that urge would be to scream one word, and that word would be echo. And when we yelled that, what we would hope is that whatever we yelled would bounce back from a distant reality, and that noise would come back in our own voice, and it would say back to us, echo. It was something special. And that echo is something that we remember. It's something that we recognize. It's something that we've experienced. But there's another echo that some of us have experienced, if not all of us. It's the echo when you're in the dark. And it's not this like adventurous one. It's one where you're lonely and you're scared and maybe you're lost and you don't know where to go. So I know for Christy and I, this is kind of the echo we just recently experienced. I thought this day would never happen. It has been our privilege to serve this church community in the Minnesota district of the Assembly of God for 15 years, and it has been a privilege. On that note, I walked into a meeting with the board 2 weeks ago, expecting to be offered the opportunity to lead this beautiful congregation. But I walked out hearing a no. So with the utmost honor and respect, I wrote this letter to tender my resignation immediately from Rochester Assembly of God. You know, when we received the news that we weren't going to get the opportunity that we had been hoping for, it felt like we were just put into a dark room. And we had all these hopes and dreams and vision. And, a moment later, overnight, that changed. We had adopted this idea that I don't think God cares. At some point, I learned how to put lids on my dreams. And so like when I want to be a person that takes the lid off of other people's dreams. And I think like the day after the no was the day that I had to look in the mirror and like overcome this idea that I was capable. Yeah. God doesn't test us because he wants to know. Mm-hmm. But I think he tested us in that moment so then we would know who we are.
Mm-hmm. Immediately, Andy and I knew we're not done. God's not finished with us yet. We just didn't know what that looked like or where we were going to go.
Right away, we thought about church planting. That was always just in the back of our head.
Mm-hmm. We shut it down.
And we shut it down because
we would dream, and then we would talk about these, like, we could do this, and then we'd shut it down.
But in the moment and in that dark space, we were just like, I just don't see it happening. Let's look elsewhere. We had some of these things that began to pile up as signs and directions of where we should go. On this one particular day, we were driving up to the cities and we were discussing an opportunity down south that was very appealing to us. Just a split-second moment where I felt something had changed. But I said to Christy, I would rather plant a church and struggle to pay my monthly bills than move down to Florida, have this really posh opportunity, but be put back into the box. And then I said, Christy, I'm sure that the door to Florida is closing. And then just as Christy agreed, our dome light in our car turned on.
And I'm like, what? And so I right when I shut it off, the dome light, all four of our car doors, did that locking noise, like that, da-da-da. And I grab Andy's leg and I'm like, Did that seriously just happen? That week of the light bulb moment, the doors unlocking and locking, people speaking into our life. I mean, it was like one thing after another that week, and just a crazy 5 days. And I just felt like God's like, Christy, you're gonna be okay.
And even the sequence of that is crazy because, like I said, we feel like we're in this box. We're in this room. It's completely black. We don't know where to go. Well, what happens first? The light turns on.
Yep.
And that catches our attention. We're like, oh, okay. And then just that statement of, hey, I would rather plant a church than go be put back in the box. Having that door unlock first and then relock in sequence to even how I said that is in, like I said, retrospect, just super significant. So that was a moment where we realized that, God does care where we go. Echo Church wasn't something that just came up, but it was something that we feel was birthed in us when we weren't even looking for anything to be birthed.
2013, Easter Sunday, while my eyes were closed, my hands were raised, I had this vision, but I saw Andy on a stage next to a podium holding a microphone, and behind him there was a banner that was really big and it said Echo Church. And in my heart, I just whispered, God, what does that mean? What is that? And he said, that's your church. It wasn't on our radar. We weren't pursuing God, what do you want us to do next? It was just, but I knew it was significant. I knew it meant something, but I didn't know what that was. So I just essentially tucked it away in my heart.
So there was a day when I was just seeking God in the morning, I stumbled upon the word that said to have life to the full. And I was going through each one of those Greek words. And if we were to pronounce that Greek word, it would be very similar to the word echo. It was one of those moments where I just felt like the Lord whispered to me, you should name your church that. Yeah, and the cool part of that scripture specifically that I was reading is that you might have life to the full. Mm-hmm. But if we were to say it with the Greek pronunciation, that you might echo life to the full.
Yeah.
Because we've received life, that we can echo it.
We just love everything about this city, and we just feel that if we can be a little ounce for people of hope, it's worth it.
I want to come alongside of people and say, yes, you are capable. And what if we did? Mm-hmm. What would this world look like? It's the echo when you're in the dark. And it's not this adventurous one. It's one where you're lonely and you're scared and maybe you're lost and you don't know where to go. And that is the echo that I sense we need to hear. And if I have any kind of dream or hope, is that we can be a people in Rochester who hear that echo. This is what we learned in the last few months. When you're in the dark and you cry for help, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as you think it could be if you're with people that hear. And what we want to do is invite you into that type of church. I want to be that type of people that hear the cry and then do something about it. So just one last time, would you close your eyes? God, I feel like my heart is full tonight. Because God, I just sense in the depths of my soul that God, what our life has been up to this point has been worth it. I just, with such desire, God, just pray over the people that are in this room and the people that will come to Echo. That God, we be a church that takes the lid off and takes people out of the boxes of their own comfort and their normal to live the life that's full and worth living.